Welcome to another episode of The Making of a Superhuman. This series, I've been introducing phenomenal personalities who have really dedicated their life towards transforming the lives of others. And today, I have got one of the very, very special guests whom the entire world is looking upon when it comes to health and wellness. And this is one person who I believe has really changed or helped hundreds and thousands of people to change their life, not just from the health point of view, physical and also mental point of view. So here I have with me Luke Coutinho. Luke, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely a privilege and pleasure. When we started this show, Superhuman series, I always wanted you to be, because you are one person who has been inspiring a lot of people to think different, act different, and really bring in that hope in people's mind that optimal health is possible.
Thank you.
So your journey has been great, I know, but still I just want you to just briefly tell our audience how you got so much passionate about this field.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on this amazing show. I think my passion's driven from what I learn from my patients every day. You know, we see terminally ill patients, fourth stage cancer, right to people who have a simple pimple on their face, to rare syndromes. And we also see people who have seen their family members suffering with cancer and diseases, and they don't want to get sick. So they come to us for a preventive model, like, hey, help us not fall sick. So when we look at different bodies over the years, like it's been about 10 years right now, I'm just amazed with the limitless power that people have, not just in their brain, but in their body at a cellular level. And most humans are not even tapping into it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, most of them aren't. And then when I speak to, we work with surgeon generals, we work with neuroscientists around the world, and all these surgeons say one thing today, that Luke, when we cut open the human body or the brain, all we see is incredible intelligence in the human body, where science has not yet even like scraped the surface of what it is. We've advanced, there's no doubt about it. But how do we get this limitless energy out? Like, let's go back to the simple example that most of us know about. You know, a simple woman, okay, car accident, the car's on fire, her baby's stuck in. Okay, in that instant, a frail woman, okay, who's probably never lifted a weight in her life, will turn the car over to get her kid out.
Yeah, yeah.
Where does that power come from? It's within. Or the simple story that Dr. Joseph Murphy talks about in his book during the San Diego fires in the hospitals, in the ward where there were bedridden patients who could never walk. Okay, there was a fire, no one came to help them, they got up and they walked out. So, all of this amazes me. And then, of course, there are cases where people really can't walk and really can't. We're not trying to, go there. But what about the everyday people who have the ability to make that difference? What about the superhumans who are doing it, who have marvelous recoveries from diseases, injuries? That power is within us, and it's always been a fascination to me. So the passion comes from there.
But where did you make the start? So there must have been a starting point for you also.
Yeah, my starting point was simple nutrition, which I studied when I did my hotel management. I did food science and nutrition, and then I did pediatric nutrition, and after that I just kept on studying. But then I decided I had an opportunity to go to med school, or I had an opportunity to continue in nutrition. So I had the opportunity to be at Yale to meet Dr. David Katz, and just on a program he was working on called Nutrition Detectives, and we were figuring out how to bring it back to India. And he sat down with me over a coffee, busy man, but gave me his time, and he understood what I wanted to do. And he said, why aren't you looking at lifestyle medicine? Because I see you're stuck between both places.
Right.
And I said, what is lifestyle medicine? He explained it. I came back, and that's how I got started with lifestyle medicine, with the base being immunology, the immune system. Our first cancer patient was an absolute success. By just working with the immune system of the patient, he had about 2 to 3 weeks left to live. I was called to just keep his nutrition going strong for him. He lived on for like the next month and the next month and the next month. And India is a country where people start to talk. It was a very, very, very high, politically famous and rich family. So word went around. The next couple of weeks, I was on flights everywhere to see cases. But when I reflected back, all we did was the immune system was never looked upon. He had deficiencies, 5 years of treatment. We just put it in place and allowed the body to take over. And it worked. And this patient had done chemo, so we're integrative, we're not alternative medicine. We believe that any form of medicine that can bring a positive impact to the patient must be accepted as long as Of course, it's scientific in nature, it's not doing any harm, and each medical professional agrees that it's not creating a conflict with each medication. So our model was built out of integration with all the sciences and wisdoms of medicine.
So which year you must have this, when you're talking about this incident of
It was about 9 years ago.
Yeah, so,
and
because people started talking about immunity only when we were hit with the COVID-19. So, this reality
yeah,
is
that's
that,
sad. No, it's actually sad because the point is, and that's why I always tell the audience, people, we want to respect all forms of medicine, but we also want to respect honesty in our world today where it's lacking, in a world that's filled with greed. Because immunity is the base of every disease. Every doctor knows that, every nutritionist, but it only became a buzzword during the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
Before the vaccines came out, there were no medications. And doctors started telling their patients, hey, go look after your immunity.
Yeah.
Start taking this. And people got furious. They were like, why haven't you ever spoken about immunity before that?
Yeah.
You were like, hey, pop this pill, pop this pill. So I'm not here to bash any community, but I'm here to create awareness amongst people that very few people in this world care today. Yeah, it's a system. There's healthcare, there's also sick care. So that's why we encourage people to invest in prevention, invest in looking after yourself, because very few people care. You just become a product of the system.
Yeah.
When things are going not too well, then people will talk about this. They don't have other options. But immunity should be taught in schools. It should be taught to every single patient that, hey, listen, I can give you a pill, but what are you doing for your immunity? Are you sleeping better? Are you eating better? That's important. It should be prescribed.
Yeah, in fact, I think, the pre-COVID and post-COVID, now the era is something like that. The pre-COVID times, I think people were thinking about health only when they were sick.
That's, again, it's not people's fault. I would say, we're all responsible for our health. Because today, if you look at the world, they're like, hey, don't worry about anything. There's a pill if you get sick.
Yeah.
Take this insurance. Don't worry. Enjoy your life. Your insurance will cover your hospital bills. So, it's very smart marketing, and the human mind, some are strong, some get that's why marketing works, right? So we need to understand that we need to see through all of these things. I mean, New York City, you see ads for painkillers and Alzheimer drugs on buses. So it's and you want to see an ad for a healthy food, but you'll see it for drugs. And antidepressants. So, right then, it's a market.
Yeah.
You're sending out a message to people that, hey, it's okay. We're there. We got you.
Yeah.
There's a pill for it. They're putting that in your mind.
Yeah.
So especially the young generation, or even senior citizens, believe that I'll be looked after. Let me continue eating. Let me continue smoking and drinking. There's something for me. So that's why I call healthcare sick care, because it doesn't really come in together to really make people healthy, change their lifestyles. There are a lot of good people out there doing great work, doctors and all, but a lot of them just are products of the system.
Even especially, I think, once the researchers started coming out and talking in the social media, that's the time the world has started understanding there has been a lot of difference from what they think about health and what actually is about health. I believe the world is going faster and faster every day. We all experience that. We need to do more and more things every single day. So hence this performance, maintaining peak performance, when I wake up until the night, what I do, it's becoming a very core issue for everyone, whether it's an artist or sports person or a professional or anybody for that matter. So maintaining a high performance level or peak performance level throughout the day is a critical thing. So you are an expert in that space. So maybe, I know that it's a very wide topic, but still a few tips which people can implement in their life where they can maintain that high performance throughout the day.
So for high performance, we need energy. It all comes with that one simple word, energy. So there are two ways of looking at energy. How can we enhance the energy that already exists? Like right now, you and I are talking, trillions of cells in the body have its amount of energy.
That's right.
How do we optimize it? Yeah. Okay, so we already all have energy. Even a sick patient has energy, but it's just there in the cells and it's depleting. So number one would be sleep. I mean, it's common sense. You don't need science to tell you that. It is common sense. Everyone knows the night they've slept well, how they feel in the morning. And it's simple. I mean, let me give you the simplest example of a phone. You charge your phone when the battery is dying or the battery is dead. Simple, and then it works, optimal function. So number one would be sleep. And if you see, that's where the world is kind of actually losing it right now, on sleep. But then they're chasing other stuff. See, when humans want to improve something, there are always very, very, very greedy businessmen and women looking to optimize a space of human behavior, because they know humans are hardwired
yeah.
for pleasure and to avoid pain. So they'll select the midway, they'll select the part in between. So instant gratification. Oh, I'm too lazy to go out for food. Let's create an app where you can order food. I'm not against this, but I'm just trying to make people, I like to empower people with thoughts to think that, hey, yeah, this is right. Ever since I started ordering through an app, I've started putting on weight, getting lazier, putting on weight. So it's good to reflect on all of these. So number one is sleep, power. Number two, okay, would be, where am I depleting my energy? Everyone's looking at what can I add? Where am I depleting energy? You're stuck in toxic relationships, huge energy depletion. Number two, you're sedentary, huge energy depletion. You're overtraining, but not sleeping well at night, depletion of energy. Junk food, complete depletion. From the moment you start eating junk food for the next 10, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, you're depleting energy completely. Low protein, low fat diets, depleting energy again. And then, of course, our way of behaving.
There is, sorry to interrupt, I think when it comes to fast food, people think that it's the fastest way to be, getting some energy.
Yeah. It's not true. It's great for the brain. It's a neuroexciter. So what does it contain? The worst kind of fats, sugar, and salt.
Yeah.
So they're neuroexciters. You feel like, oh, wow, good for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and after that you have a dip. And that's how food sells. And let me get some more. Let me get another bag of chips. Let me get another cookie. So that's how it works. So depletion of energy, all of these things are. Then even our behavior, when we constantly shout, the amount of energy we deplete from the human body is huge.
Yeah.
So if I have to put it simple, we have the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah. The more time I spend in the parasympathetic nervous system, the more energy I conserve.
Absolutely.
So we can have stress in our life, but we learn to relax, we learn to respond well, we learn to take it easy, process our feelings before we jump out there and fight. And when we need to fight, we need to fight. The body's built for that. Sympathetic, fight and flight. Parasympathetic, rest, regenerate, and digest. So these are the simplest things that we can do. Of course, now people going through certain medical treatments can deplete energy at all levels. You're on a steroid, you will deplete. You're on a statin, you will deplete, because the statin will deplete CoQ10. CoQ10 is required for energy, which is why don't jump off your statins if you're on a statin for the right reasons. Your doctor should also prescribe selenium and a CoQ10, because every medical drug depletes certain vitamins and minerals. Like a chemotherapy will deplete every class A vitamin, protein, all of that, and that's why your diet is very important to put it back in, so you manage the side effects. Same with a steroid, same with a statin, it's depleting something. So integrative medicine is nothing but, hey, okay, these are the drugs you're on. Okay, what do I need to put back in to negate the effect of depletion? So you see, you can even increase the energy levels of a sick patient when they're going through all of these things. Depression, unfortunately, whether it's clinical depression or I also call it man-made depression. That's not to take away from anyone's suffering of depression. I'll explain the difference. Clinical depression is, of course, we have a chemical imbalance in our neurotransmitters. Man-made depression is when you take therapy, you do everything, but, I'm vibrating at such a low energy frequency in life that any little problem, I say, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, my husband didn't fought with me today. I'm depressed. You don't use that word. You don't use that word. No, you have a depressing moment in your relationship right now. It doesn't mean you're depressed. So I say man-made is because, again, you have social media people saying, oh, he behaved in a relationship like that. She said this, oh, that's a red flag, and everyone gets depressed. No, it's a red flag. It's a warning. You go to the beach, there are jellyfish, there'll be a red flag. You don't say, oh, no, the sea is depressing. It's just that time in the day you can't swim. So that's what I mean by man-made. A lot of us are responsible to break it down, sometimes suck it up and move on. Take therapy if we want, because everyone's different. But we can't be living in a box where everyone says, oh, the weather depresses me. It's what you're living in. Accept it, man. I mean, so that's what I mean. These are all energy depleters.
I still remember, when I was undergoing the psychotherapy course from Dr. Richard Bandler. So the first question he always asks is when somebody says that I'm depressed, the first question is he never asks the why. He says, how do you know that you're depressed?
Beautiful.
Because most of the people have no idea whether it's depression or what's going on. They have no clue. Now, when it comes to sleep, yesterday in the World Biohack Summit, actually, you stole the show with the kind of your concepts about sleep. And I'm sure that when it comes to sleep, people start realizing that's the most important thing. Maybe earlier, people think this is an activity which I can do when I'm doing nothing else. Now people understand that this is the most important activity. Now, questions are like how many hours I should be sleeping, should I be sleeping early? So there are so many confusions around it. Whenever I discuss with people or whenever people ask me questions also, they have all this different kind of questions about sleep. Because spiritual guru says that, you need to sleep only 2 to 4 hours. And the kind of wellness guru says that you have to sleep for 6 to 7 hours. So what's your take on this?
Absolutely.
Duration?
Yeah, I'll speak about that. I just want to go back to one more point which I forgot on
Oh, yeah,
energy.
yeah.
Vitamin B12 and vitamin D3. If you're low on this, you will feel fatigued. And 1 in 2 people are low in vitamin D3 and B12. So get sunlight, and if you're low on B12, either change your diet, get supplemented by your doctor, or improve your gut health.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of B12 malabsorption is due to the gut. So let's come back to sleep. So number one, again, people have been put into a box, okay, for sleep. And how can you be in a box when every individual is bio-individual and unique? That's why biometrics works.
That's right.
There are no 2 identical twins.
Yeah.
So the point is, we can't put ourselves into a box. We need to figure every day can be different for us, But yes, there are many, many things about sleep that we can look at. Number one, it is the quality of sleep more than the quantity of sleep. How do we know this? Some people sleep 9 hours, but they still wake up tired.
Yeah.
Some people sleep 4 to 5 hours and they wake up energetic, no need of caffeine for the first 3 hours, and they function on cellular energy. Again, everyone is different. Makes a difference. Our genes play a huge role in this as well. It really doesn't matter, and I want to take that stress off a lot of young kids, teenagers out there, and even senior citizens who are told that, hey, sleep early and wake up early. It's not true. There are morning larks and there are night owls. Okay, Dr. Matt Walker talks about this beautifully in his book. So if I'm a night owl, and I used to be a night owl when I was a teenager in college. I would study at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. That's when I could focus the best. Now, over time, I'm more of a morning lark. It changes our phases of life. But the beautiful study, and why I love Dr. Matt Walker's work, is because he doesn't do his research on mice and rats. It's on human beings. Wow. And the beauty is, he spoke about this in the study, and very simple. We've tried this with everyone. You can be a morning lark or a night owl, but what is important is the human body needs to get that amount of sleep it needs. So if you're sleeping later, you got to wake up later. But now if you say, I want to be a night owl, and you still got to wake up because your kids have to leave for school at 6 o'clock, or you need to go to work, you are sleep deprived. Yeah. And if I'm a morning lark, I need to get into bed earlier if I want to wake up at 3 or 4. I want to pause over here because you brought up the beautiful part about spiritual leaders saying so and so. Respect to all spiritual leaders and stuff like that, but most of the people watching this have jobs or businesses to run.
Absolutely.
We're not sitting in a mountain.
Yep.
We're not sitting, being served all day and all of that stuff and telling people 2 to 3 hours and you'll find. Because, a lot of people blindly follow these spiritual leaders. And I've had cases from one particular community in India. Over 3 years, we would get brain tumor cases, brain cancer cases. And this is a very religious and spiritual group in India. And then I started looking at a commonality. We had about, 16 brain tumor cases. And I couldn't figure it out. From the same community. And I couldn't figure it out because they're all great. They do seva, they do all of that stuff. Then I went to the sleep, 2 to 3 hours. And I was like, waking up at 3 in the morning. I said, great, yeah, Luke, it's amazing. What time are you sleeping? 1 o'clock. So they're still partying. They're still going out for late dinners, but because their guru told them to wake up at 3 o'clock, okay? And I said, it's not your guru's fault, okay? You're supposed to wake up at 3 o'clock, great, but you should be in bed at 9 o'clock.
Absolutely.
And sleep deprivation is one of the many factors that contribute towards brain tumors, brain cancers, and a lot of cognitive decline. We know that. It's scientifically proven today. And so in the name of religion and spirituality, people do these foolish things. Now, if you are, I know people who, are retired, no more in their businesses, and they meditate 2 hours, 3 hours in a day. They sleep, they can do it 4 hours. They can do it 5. But they're consistent with their practice. So, the world has to move away from taking away from fast. Oh, spirituality said this, let me put myself in a box. But your environment is very different. Your age is different. There's a time and place for everything in life. So sleep is extremely important, the quality of sleep. Like we mentioned yesterday at the Biohack, all the functions that we're trying to fix individually today, like, hey, let me get onto a detox plan. I'm not against these things. It happens, sleep. Oh, I need an anti-inflammatory diet. Inflammation reduction happens when you sleep.
Absolutely.
Immunity happens while you sleep. Repair, cognitive health, memory consolidation. So that's what we need to do. And we should understand, senior citizens will find that their sleep cycles decrease. That's okay. It happens. A baby sleeps 18 hours, and then 16, and then 15, and 12, and 10. And then as we go through the cycle of life and we become senior citizens again, our sleep can actually decrease, and we can do with 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep. So we shouldn't be worried unless lifestyles become the obstacle. I'm staying awake because of social media. I'm staying awake because I want to socialize all the time. I'm staying awake because I'm eating midnight snacks and I'm just sad. So these are the obstacles that come in between great sleep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there are so many valid points in this, because I think one of the major confusion right now people are having is all about sleep and how many hours I should be sleeping. And also, I always tell, whenever I get a chance to talk or anywhere, I say that your next day starts on the previous evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have to set yourself ready for the next day.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't work,
Yeah.
then yeah. And what's your suggestion for common suggestion for people how to get their day started, because that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, and this is practiced by all of our athletes around the world as well, because they are high performance individuals. So I like to take away a lot from their lives, and they have morning rituals, and all of us should as well. When we get up, do not put your phone on for the first hour. And if you have to, make sure your apps are not activated. Like sometimes, since I have patients in the US, the time difference and stuff like that, I may have to wake up sometimes and look at my WhatsApp to see if I need to sign off on any charts or vice versa. But that'll be WhatsApp, and I get back to my morning ritual. But if you get into social media, into your emails, you're going to be pulled into the day. You can do it later, but that first 1 hour in the morning is your time. You wake up before you get out of bed. What are you doing in bed? That's your time to start priming the mind. Can you be grateful? Can you think of people who love you? Can you set your intentions for the day? This can be done in 5 minutes. You can stretch in bed if you want, even before you get out. There are beautiful little stretches that you can do to just mobilize the back, the body, and all this can be done in 5 minutes, okay? You can make your own ritual if you want. I'm giving you examples of different people who are high performance athletes and individuals. Then they get out of bed. Okay, what's the first thing that we need to do? Empty out all the toxins that accumulated in our bodies. So we want to build a cycle of great health where we're out of bed, we go past a motion, clear out all the waste from our system, brush our teeth, whatever it is that we want to do. Some people have oil pulling, tongue scraping. You make your ritual.
Right.
Now, my mind is at its prime. How do I set it for the day? I can sit down, I can meditate, I can do a little bit of yoga, I can just be in silence, connect with natural light. Okay, if you're in a country where, hey, it's cold weather, you're in a hotel where you can't open, just look at natural light first before you look at your phone. Connect 5-10 minutes. You have the opportunity, get some sunlight, walk out in the sun. All of this can be done in an hour. So I call it a superpower hour.
Yeah.
So you can do 5 minutes of asanas. You can do 5 minutes of breathing, 5 minutes of meditation. Just plan it according to the time. Some people have 2 hours of a morning ritual because it's so important for them, and then they hit the day flying. Another thing, do not have coffee when you wake up. Coffee is for at least 90 minutes to 120 minutes after you wake up. Not because I'm saying it, it's just how the human body works. You already have cortisol, high levels of it when you wake up. You don't want a stimulant in your body. You want your ritual to slowly flow, and then you can have your coffee later in the day. So this is how you want to do. Intention is everything. We have a group of people who start their day with intention and people who don't.
Yeah.
The ones who start their day with intention, even though life will throw them problems, they know how to navigate. They're more peaceful. The people who have no intention throw themselves in the day. They're just constantly reacting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like priming yourself, before you start the day. But morning rituals can be very, very powerful.
Just a very personal question. Yesterday in the Biohack Summit also, you're talking about discipline. That's the most important thing. And you have got so many clients in the US and also in different parts of the world. So how do you manage your timing? Because you must be definitely doing coaching in the night times.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that?
So it's all planning, right? I'm a huge fan of armies, navies, air forces, and schools because they work on the process and on the principle of timetables. That's why schools work, because if there was no timetable, teachers would go on and on. So everything is slotted. Everything is slotted, and that's where priority comes in. What is my priority this week? So if I have more patients, I may have to cut out a little bit of, if I wanted to watch a movie or if I wanted to go out with friends, that's not my priority. My priority is my patients. So I have to move something around. I can't, a lot of people today, society has become weak in many ways. They give a message to the young people and everyone else that, oh, you can have everything. You can't have everything. There's always something you got to sacrifice of lesser value for greater value. And that's what athletes are doing all the time. High performance individuals are sacrificing the things and people of lesser value for things and people of greater value. And that's how you can fit things in, because you have a priority. But if you don't and you can have everything, then I ask people, so what's your one goal or purpose? They don't know. Because they think, oh yeah, I can have everything. I want to have this, I want to do everything in a day. And they're drained of energy at the end. So it's very important to plan your time, be disciplined. I'm not saying it's perfect. Sometimes you fall off the bandwagon, but discipline is about getting back on it again.
All right. That is wonderful, Luke. Thank you so much for the time, and thank you so much for, in fact, sharing the kind of thoughts. I would rather say that's slightly, totally different from the normal textbook kind of stuff. That's I always observed with you. So thank you so much for joining this show. It is a pleasure for hosting you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So that was Luke Coutinho for you, and some of the things what he has already explained to you, or all the things whatever he has said, he's living all those things whatever he has told you right now. And the most important thing is to live a superhuman life is possible. Optimal health is possible, but we need to take the decision. We need to have the decision.